Hi, everybody. I am Jessica Koch, and this is a Profound Professional interview. I started Profound Professional interview series in 2018. I really had a strong desire to feature authors, speakers, coaches, consultants, industry leaders from all across the globe, share the amazing things they do, the way they serve their clients, hear their story and their journey, and also have an opportunity to feature causes and charities and things they're involved in that touch the community and the world in a greater way. Today, it is my honor to have Irina Whitmer, brand strategist and business coach with Empowered Brands by Irina. Hi, Irina, how are you today?
Hi, Jessica. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me here. What a wonderful series.
I am just excited. I get the honor of having, I have a couple of amazing friends from India and from Russia and from just, I think, what a wonderful world we live in, right? I have friends out of Canada and Australia and the UK, and how amazing that social media just lets us touch and learn and meet so many people from all across the globe. But I'm lucky enough to have you right in my neighborhood where I could wrap my arms around you and hug you as soon as we're allowed.
I know, right?
So we met not too long ago, maybe a year, 2 years now.
We only met 2 years ago, but I feel like I've known you my entire life. You've become such a great friend.
I feel the same way. We're like sisters from across the globe. We just met up later in life.
Yep.
So share with us a little bit. Well, I kind of gave a little bit of the cat out of the bag, and so does your accent, by the way. Tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my story actually begins about 5 years ago when I moved to America, and I had no clue what I would be doing here professionally.
Right.
At that moment, I had a bachelor's degree in psychology of management, and I had a few years of teaching and training experience. First in a corporate Russia, and then working for myself as an English tutor. Teaching English here, however, didn't look like such a great idea. So I decided to explore another one of my passions. And after completing a proper training, I started my photography business. So I absolutely love doing photography, but it didn't take me a long time to realize that I loved business even more. So I specialized in brand photography, and for a while I offered a unique service providing initial branding guidance to my clients before taking any pictures so that their brands would be represented in the most effective way on social media and websites. I also did a lot of public speaking, and I was amazed by the feedback I received and by the results it produced to the people who heard me speak. So I know I've loved public speaking. I've loved giving that initial branding guidance. So again, it wasn't a long time before I realized that if I focused on branding and business coaching, I would be able to make even a bigger impact and produce even better results for business owners. And that's what I've been doing since then. And I'm especially grateful for my journey because I myself had to pivot a couple times. And that's what allows me to serve my clients even better, because branding, as well as business, is the very definition of pivoting and being able to adapt to either a change in your personal life, like I moved to America, or adapt to the events in the world, like what we're all experiencing right now.
Right. I want to thank everybody for watching, and especially say hello to Patricia Cove. She is my friend out there in Canada. If you guys have branding, I know there's several other viewers watching. If you have questions about branding or any questions as we're going through, please make sure that you put them in the comments and we'll try to address them live as we go through. One of the things I want to make sure we highlight is you didn't really just go from all your knowledge in photography and the amazing things you were doing there and just shift gears to branding. You actually did some incredibly extensive training, certifications, classes, and you really went in depth with that. Can you share with us a little bit of your background and your training and what you went through to actually have this knowledge base to share with your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't specify enough how important it is to have a proper training.
Mm-hmm.
And I always strive to always expand and deepen what I can do and what I can offer and what kind of results I can provide to my clients. So ever since I started my business 5 years ago, I'll tell you what, every single year, my biggest expense was training.
Mm-hmm.
So I've taken many courses on business. I myself had intensive individual coaching sessions for more than 6 months with a very high level coach. And I've got a pretty good experience that allows me to be confident in my ability to deliver results because of the results that I've already been able to create with my clients.
Right. Yeah, I know one of the most important things I'm always emphasizing, and I actually have several different coaches that help me in my life, from accountability to meditation to business to collaborative and even masterminds. It's so important to have that group of people working with you to plan your business, to solve a problem. Especially if you're a solopreneur, right, and you're the main person in your company. Like, I have multiple virtual assistants, but it's not the same. You really need that other input from other business owners. That's kind of like building your own board, right? And then having that prime coach who their goal and objective is to help you achieve what you're doing, and that have achieved just beyond you. So you wouldn't go into the Olympics without a coach, right? You wouldn't do any of these major accomplishments without one. It always blows my mind that people think that they can approach business or life without one and achieve great things, because I'm pretty sure most people haven't made really big, impactful, massive life transformations and huge accomplishments without a small team and or a coach and some training along the way. Like, I feel like that's not a likely scenario, right?
Absolutely. I've been so blessed throughout my whole life because at any given point in my life, I had a mentor or even two that were like 10, 100 steps ahead of me. And I wanted to learn from that. And I felt so driven to do so. And so I would stay with each one of them for at least a year or two until I felt that, I need to go and learn more in a different place.
Having some different versatility and different influences and variety, I think, is very impactful as well, because you get different things from different people, which is why I've always had a small handful for different specific, really, goals, and their talents are in that one area. So share with us a little bit of how you work with your customer and kind of some of the products and services you have, or share us some more of the picture of what that looks like. What else can you tell us about when we're approaching our brand? Because a lot of us, I mean, whether you're starting out, that's really, I mean, that's a great place to start your brand, but there are a whole group of us who already got going, and we're in it a couple of years. Everyone talks about the whole rebranding thing. What is ways you can help someone from maybe the get-go, and then something different you can do for someone who's already established but still may not have the strongest brand overall, and needs some work with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Jessica. So usually when I start working with my clients, we do an in-depth onboarding questionnaire and that first onboarding session that allows me and my client to see the gaps, to see what would need our first and soonest attention before we go to some other of the elements of anybody's brand. So it's not like I have a program that I just apply to everybody word to word. No, it's highly individual, highly custom tailored. And today, actually, instead of just talking about my services, I wanted to make sure that I give as much value as I can to your viewers and listeners. So I prepared a broad overview of what your brand is and the 10 most important brand elements that should be set in place for any business success. And so I'm going to share my screen right now.
Awesome. Let's see it.
And can you see my slide well?
Yeah, perfect.
Wonderful. So these are the 10 elements, and it might not be a surprise to you that I'm going to start from your mindset. Anybody's mindset, your mindset, it's the first thing, the most important thing to start from when you build your brand at any given time. It is always mindset plus action that we work on when we change the strategy. I can't stress the importance of a mindset enough. Many things, many branding and business things that my clients came to me to solve were actually solved by simple mindset tweaks. So this is the first element to always keep in mind. The next element, it's your values. So before even starting to figure out your whole strategy, and especially before starting to define your target market, you need to know who you are and your values, because everything else will be based on that. The next element, it's your target market. So once you know your values, now you are ready to narrow your target market. Not only it will be much easier to attract your potential clients when they are in alignment with who you are and your values, but it will also be much more enjoyable to work with them. And once you narrow your target market, make sure to do market research before you proceed to any other elements. Because your market research and the results that you get from it will drive your whole further strategy.
So what are some of the ways that you suggest people to begin market research? Because a lot of people, you hear about that, but some people just don't know where to start with it.
That's a great question, Jessica. So there are different ways of doing market research, but my favorite way is to just go to your people, go to your target clients, people you target, the people that you just narrowed your market to, and ask them questions, ask them what they want from life, ask them what their everyday specific tangible problems, and ask them things, and see where your service or product fits in there. And you're going to be amazed by the results, because when I did my target market research, and I asked a few entrepreneurs same questions, it was so funny, because the answers that I got in response, it's like they were coming from the same person. They were so similar, and that just clarified my further strategy so much. So yeah, so once you complete that market research, now you know your target clients so well, and you know what to offer them in the next element, services. When you define your services, you know exactly what to offer, in what packages, in what message, and you now truly speak their language. So they trust that they trust your expertise. They trust that you can help them. The next element, networking. I bet that's one of your favorites,
Of course
Jessica.
it is. Of course it is. It's actually how we met.
Yeah, because you're a networking guru.
I certainly like it a lot, that's for sure. I am very much enjoying actually the virtual network. I make jokes that we're all Zombies, but um, I have to tell you, I'm having quite a good time. And someone was saying to me that after so many Zooms, they feel so drained. I guess there's some days where I had experienced a little bit of that, but most of the time I feel very energized and excited after meeting new people from all over the globe and getting to build these relationships. So for me, it's been very exciting. I love networking.
I love networking too. So the next element is networking, and that's why it's so important to narrow your target market first and do that market research, because that will drive your whole networking and follow-up strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you approach networking broader and target your clients better.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it makes sense to get into that traditional business networking, and sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Be where your people are.
Well, a great example of that is if one of your target markets was government contractors, so companies that provide services to the government, they have organizations and associations that are almost like mini chambers that are just for that group. Just about outside every major military installation, they have a network, an organization like that. And that's a great example of really zoning in on who your customer is. Versus just going to a generalized networking event.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely got this. In this case, it's important to always keep in mind that the best networking is when you enter the room and you're literally surrounded by your target clients.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if your target clients are military spouses, it's not the most effective strategy going to those traditional business networking events.
Right.
So the next element is social media and your website. And some of the questions to ask yourself here is, how's your brand coming across on social media? Does it stand out in a crowd? Does it pull in clients effortlessly? And do you have brand consistency across social media platforms and also in your content that you put out there? And that leads us to the next brand element, your content and your email list. And here the questions to ask yourself is, how effective is your content? Do you know what to write about? Do you know how to structure your message in a way that it just grabs your potential client's attention? And another important question to ask yourself, do you build your own audience? And what I mean here, do you build your email list? Because social media audience, it's great, but you don't own social media platforms. And you don't control what happens there. You don't control any of the changes. So building your email list is essential, and it's important to know how. And since content creation can be time consuming, it's also great to have a strategy in place on how to repurpose it. The next element, it's visuals. That's probably not going to be surprising at all, especially since oftentimes many people still think that your brand, it's your logo. But
right.
Now you can see that it's just a small part of it.
Right.
So visuals, by any means, they are important. Your images, your branded images, your logo, your design, but it's much more important to know how to network effectively, how to build relationships, who you are, how to stay true to yourself throughout your whole business and your whole branding, how to position yourself as an expert, and how to give value. All of those things are more important than having a perfect logo. So
Yeah,
by
yeah, I agree. I really feel like, and I'm pretty sure we're on the same page here, where brand is, in my view, more of how you make your customers feel, or the people who find you feel. So how do they feel about the videos you're putting out? How does the image or the words on the page speak to them? What kind of feeling or emotion are connected to that? So what kind of culture and tribe are you attracting? What is the vibe and the energy in that space? I think that's a really big, strong part of the brand message that you're getting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Jessica. So the next element, public speaking, is actually one of my favorite ways to connect with new clients and bring value. It's a great way to position yourself as an expert in your industry. And unfortunately, though, for most entrepreneurs, public speaking is uncomfortable, to say the least. But it
Yeah.
does not have to be this way.
Well, they say people fear public speaking and death, and in that order, right? So, but you know what speakers fear the most? We fear empty webinars, empty seats in the butts. We need butts and seats. That's our biggest fear, is an empty room.
That's so true. Yeah. Once you get into public speaking and you know how and you see how great it is, yeah, you're gonna fear empty rooms. But before that, a lot of entrepreneurs actually fear speaking. But again, it doesn't have to be this way. It can be easy, it can be enjoyable, especially when you know how to structure your presentations. And also, my best advice to enjoy your public speaking presentations is to create content that you're so excited about that you can't wait to share it.
Yeah.
And when you focus,
Some other good advice there. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but some other good advice there is things like reach out to your local Toastmaster groups. Try starting your speaking. And now is the great time, because everyone's so virtual, in small little webinar groups. Invite 5 or 6 people that know you, that you feel comfortable with, and make your presentation and practice. Do it by yourself. Use some screen capture software and just have a little video of yourself, share your screen, and talk through a PowerPoint presentation. Record it, play it back. You're your own worst critic, and then try it again until you get it to where you feel more comfortable. And one of my favorite books on this topic is Talk Like TED. It was actually written by someone who was a consultant to many of some of the best and greatest TED Talks that were ever presented. And she gives you kind of the formula of how to share a captivating story and information about your product and service, and how to put that together in a way that is powerful. So those are some ways to get kind of past your public speaking hurdle.
yeah, those are great ways. I myself am a member of Calvert Toastmasters in Maryland, and it's just been so amazing, because before joining Toastmasters, I had been speaking for about 2 years, and judging by the feedback I received throughout those years, I was doing it pretty well, probably because of my prior teaching and training experience. But when I joined Toastmasters, I just learned so many more elements on how to effectively deliver your presentation. And it's a great way to keep practicing.
And
So
you network at the same time. So it's two for one. It's a double whammy.
I know, right? So yeah, one last thing about public speaking is when you focus on bringing value during your presentations versus how you look, it's just gonna feel so much more natural. It's just gonna flow.
It doesn't hurt if you don't if you look as beautiful as Irina, though. She's awesome.
Come on, Jessica, you would know. You always look great. Thank you. And so the last element, but not least, by any means, it's your sales. So everything that we've talked about, right? All of those prior elements, what do we set them up for, right?
Right.
Why do we build them? Of course, it goes without saying that we want to help people, that we truly want our services and our products to benefit somebody. We want to create an impact in the world. And we want to have clients to create even deeper impact. We want to have profitable and sustainable businesses. So everything that you've done so far with all of those prior elements, you need to make sure that they're designed in a way that bring you sales.
Right.
And sales, by any means, it might be very challenging. It's very challenging for most entrepreneurs.
I love it. What are you talking about? It's so easy.
I know, once you figure out how to do it in the right way, of course it's easier. Of course you're gonna love it. Of course you're gonna have fun with that. But before that, many people share that just they don't like those conversations. They feel so uncomfortable during the process. And of course, there are different structures, different approaches on how to build your consultations in an effective way. But none of that makes sense. None of it will help unless you shift your focus and adjust your mindset.
Yes, I was just going to say, I love that you have sales right next to mindset, because
Yeah.
if you think about, I always say, if you think about how sad it will be if the person who really needs your service, and it could change their business, it could transform their lives, it can improve their family, it could give them resources to share with the community. But if you're too afraid to ask them and get them to work with you so that they can have that advantage, then you're doing them a disservice. And if you offer it to them for free, you're actually harming them, because then they don't see a really invested value in it, even in their subconscious. Even if they think you're great and they think, oh, how nice of you to give me your service for free, they're not going to apply it the same way or with the same vigor or the same effort if they haven't had any skin in the game. They have to have some kind of investment in what they're learning so that they will apply it properly, and then they will reap the benefits. So you're actually, you think if you're doing something nice for your friends and family and just helping them out for free, but you might not be. You might actually be harming them, because if they find value in it and invest, then they're going to really take it to the fullest, right? If you pay several $1,000s for a college course, you're going to complete it. You want that certification, that certificate at the end, because you have invested and you're going to push yourself to finish the book, to finish the project, to turn your homework in time, so that you don't get disqualified from getting the reward at the end, right? And you do the same thing to your customers if you don't give them that opportunity to invest in the value that you have for them so that they can receive the reward at the end, right? That's a big mindset shift for some people.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jessica. And another thing that I wanted to add to that is, well, you do have those initial consultations for free. By any means, you do. And also, oftentimes you do that public speaking, the previous brand element we talked about, and you give a lot of value for free, which you should be doing. But when it comes time to individual support, to customizing it, those conversations, those sales consultations should be designed in a way that helps your potential client get clarity on what's holding them back, on what's that missing piece from achieving the success they desire and deserve. Oftentimes we're just so much into our business, we can't possibly see it without that outside perspective. So by any means, the consultations are free, and they bring a lot of value in terms of clarity.
Sure.
And so the person can take that clarity and go Google, let's say, about defining your target market and doing market research, and apply it if they wish so. However, they're not going to do it because it's a lot of work, and it's always better to have that guidance. And that's the part that I mean, I absolutely agree with what you've said. It doesn't make sense trying to actually coach and consult during the initial consultation, because first, normally it takes time. It takes a little bit more time than that initial consultation to build your effective strategy. It takes that deep dive in. You can't possibly do it in an hour or less. And if you try to squeeze it in and give that quick advice, that they will just take like one piece out of many that need to be put in that big puzzle. They're gonna go apply it, then they're not gonna have the results, and then they're gonna say, hey, Irina doesn't know what she's talking about. She gave me that advice during our initial consultation. I applied that and didn't work for me. Well, of course it didn't, because we didn't do the proper work. So the consultations should be about getting clarity on what's holding them back, and just offering them some introduction into your services, so you could decide together whether it makes sense to start working on those missing elements.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to say about sales is that it really helps when you shift your focus from, oh my gosh, I need to make this sale, I need this client, to I want to bring value. So when you embrace the mindset of abundance, you start having fun with your sales conversations. And that's what Jessica does. And that's what I do.
Well, thank you.
So those are the 10 basic, most important brand elements that should be in place, should be defined, and should have the proper strategy to any business success. And I just wanted to share 2 resources today for people who watch. So first resource is going to be for defining your target market, because that drives your whole further strategy.
Right.
So earlier today, you asked me how to do it, and how to do that market research. So for people who want to just make sure that they have all the clarity they need for that, or they have some starting point, go ahead to and go to my website, empoweredbyirina.com, to download your free interactive workbook. That interactive workbook will talk about target market, 3 common mistakes that lose you clients, and will give you a few exercises that you can fill out and individually apply to yourself.
Wonderful.
And then the second resources I wanted to give you is, if you listen today to this presentation, to this wonderful conversation with Jessica and me about these different brand elements, and you feel like you could use some extra guidance about one of them or several of them, schedule a complimentary brand strategy assessment call with me. It's available to the first 10 entrepreneurs that schedule it. And that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get that initial clarity. You're gonna get the initial new insights and ways of thinking, and even 3 things you can tweak now to start getting more clients. By any means, it's not gonna be possible to build your whole strategy in one call, but it will be possible to give you enough clarity that you can just take right away and go and try to research further on how to actually implement it.
I love it. That is fantastic. So one of my favorite parts and reason for starting Profound Professional Interview Series is, well, before I get into this, is there anything else about your business or that you'd like to share about working with you, or have we covered everything pretty well?
Well, we pretty much covered it very well.
All right, find her website, go have a conversation with her. Let's get your brand beat into shape. Let's get going already. But the next piece of Profound Professionals, which is one of my favorites, is sharing awareness and information about all of the different amazing causes and charities and movements and opportunities to reach out into your community or reach out into the globe, and just help one another. So the whole goal is you might be inspired to do something like this, or just do something in your community and your neighborhood when you hear the cause that makes Irina's heart sing and what inspires her. So share with us, you had some information on something that you love and a cause that you have supported from an awareness standpoint. What is it? Let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I love to share about a nonprofit organization that's called Be More Caring. And this I'm just so admired by what this organization does, because this nonprofit has a great cause. They provide relief and immediate assistance to temporarily misplaced adults and privileged children, so who just happen to be homeless at the moment, which any of us can be or become at any moment in life, due to some things like being victims of domestic violence, or our nation's veterans might go through that experience.
Well, right now we're approaching 20% unemployment, so the world is a little bit off its, it's been what I've been calling one humdinger of a 2020 so far.
Yeah, so right now it just feels even more real to many people. So it's easier now to understand that at any point in life, any of us is just one paycheck away from being on the streets. Sometimes things happen, world events happen, personal things happen. Sure. And it's just so great when there are some organizations like Be More Caring that can provide that immediate relief. So I personally know.
Do you know? I mean, exactly how do they help?
How do they help? They on a weekly basis, Be More Caring volunteers go into Baltimore City and Anne Arundel County and serve approximately 300 people with food, with meals, providing meals, and some essentials like blankets, clothing, and so on, gloves, masks and everything. Mm-hmm. And I personally know a few people, a few volunteers who are in our business network, in our local business network. And I just think that those people are literally selfless heroes, because throughout the pandemic, each one of those volunteers delivered hundreds of meals.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Thank you so much. I also want to do a shout out for Naveed Gill. He's watching all the way from Pakistan. I mean, what time is it there anyway? I love that social media has such a global reach. I feel like we could reach across the world and give him a hug. So thank you, Naveed Gill, for watching, and our amazing Patricia Cove and all of the others who joined us and made comments. Please continue to reach out. Irina and I will do our best to answer any of your questions in the comments, even after this is just a replay. Do a watch party, show us some love with some action, share this out with everyone. But before we say goodbye, and I did want to, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing with me. And I love hearing your story and your journey and how you have transformed your business in so many amazing ways. But before we completely say goodbye, I would love it if you would share us one last little treasure. So either a quote, a book, something you do in your life and your routine that's been motivational or transformational or just helpful. Is there one last special thing you can share with everyone who's watching?
Absolutely, I'd love to do that. So that treasure, one last thing I want to share today, is actually a very cool thing that I advise all my clients to do when they become extra aware and mindful of the processes in their business and the mindset behind that. So that trick, that thing, is called an evidence box. And it doesn't have to be an actual box. It can be any way that is easier for you to keep it, like notes on your phone or journaling or whatever. But the idea behind that is when you feel very low, when you feel like you're not gonna make it, when you feel like everything is against you, it's not working out. You've had 5 consultations throughout the last couple weeks and nobody said yes, and you just feel so, you're not feeling confident at all about what's going on and what you're doing. It's so nice when you have that box prepared that you can just pull out some win, some random situation that you experienced in the past when you also didn't think you could make it, when you also think you didn't think you wouldn't work it out, but you did. So prepare an evidence box or evidence journal or evidence notes like that, that you can always go to when you're not feeling at your best and highest.
I love that. That's wonderful. Thank you. Yes, document your successes so that when you're having that day, you can look back at them in a way that will remind you of all your superpowers and how amazing you are, right? And then you'll better be able to visualize that person that you're striving to be. So show your actions, show your love with actions. This will be on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Like, share, comment, give it all the loves, but give it love with action. I want to thank everyone. And in this time where we're filling up, I keep saying we're filling up the world's hope cup because we have everything if we still have hope and gratitude and love. And so, do a gratitude spotlight for someone, feature a video testimonial and surprise someone. Make sure you're sharing and encouraging and cheering on the hope heroes that are out there that are doing things to help others. Make sure you take a moment of gratitude and just look out at the amazing, beautiful creation of this planet and this earth and enjoy nature, enjoy a waterfall, enjoy a walk by the ocean. And then don't forget to remember that the most amazing creation in nature is you. Take a look in the mirror, remember that you are valuable and you are important, and help someone else feel that way too. So until next time, I'm Profound Professionals. We're going to say goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Irina.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Naveed. Thank you, Patricia. And we'll see everybody next time. Bye-bye.